Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in ma ba'd. So this is an invitation to the Salafiyah, the Wahabiyah. It's time for you to come to Ahlu Sunnah wal Jama'ah, take the correct path, the path of the overwhelming majority throughout our history, the way of the three schools of Aqidah, the Ashari, the Maturidi, and the Hanabila, right? And just because you call yourself Hanbali doesn't mean you're actually Hanbali. In the four schools, the Hanafiya, the Maliki, the Shafi, and the Hanabila, and the way of Tasawuf, the way of loving the awliya and the salihin, and trying to be on their way, and at least thinking good of the awliya and the salihin, the way of Imam al-Junaid and his likes before him and after him, radiallahu anhum. So, I mean, we're seeing this group, your group, splitting up every year, and many of them, alhamdulillah, are coming to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and you have to ask yourself, when is it going to be your time? If you just think a little bit, think about the tradition. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the guidance, and inshallah you'll be guided to the way of Ahl Sunnah. You don't want to die, you don't want to pass away on that way that you're on, the way of innovation, the way of misguidance, right? I mean, we're not saying that dying on that way puts you in the hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best about everyone's state, but it's definitely a way of innovation, and it's definitely an evil way, right, contrary to the way of the tradition. And that's why the non-Muslims, they pushed this way, because they knew that it was at odds with the tradition, and that's why they pushed it forward to go along with, like the Qadianis, for example. They pushed them forward as well, amongst other groups, and in ways that are contrary to the way of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that's reigned for hundreds of years. And that's what gave us victory with like Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, for example, Muhammad al-Fatih, and so on. The many conquests and victories of Islam, it came through taqwa and on the correct aqidah and the way of fiqh and the way of tasawwuf. So Salafiyah, Wahabi, whatever you want to call yourselves, come back to the true way, right? The way of Imam al-Nawawi and Ibn Hajar and Ibn Qudama, in al-Majd ibn Taymiyyah, and Ibn Rajab, al-Mardawi, and Ibn Najjar. I mean, you can just keep naming Suyuti, and al-Iraqi, and Ibn al-Salah, and Khatib al-Baghdadi. You can just keep naming, I mean, all the Maliki. You can keep naming the Sidi Ahmed Dardir, Imam Khalil, Ibn Rushd, Abu Bakr ibn al-Arabi. I mean, come to this way, right? Come to this way today, right? If you have any questions, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the guidance, right? Come to it with sincerity, right? I mean, the group, it's definitely dying out, and it's splitting up anyway. It's already a minority, and it's splitting up every year into another group, which they make takfir of each other, and they are fighting amongst each other. So this is an invitation, give it some thought and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the help, and come to the actual way of Islam, the orthodox way of Islam, the way of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the four schools of fiqh, the three schools of Aqidah, and the way of Tasawuf. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.